So let's just talk about that for a brief minute, because I do want. Hey, it's gonna happen. You can't win them all. You can't honestly win them all. But let's go back to that conversation that to that conversation of the whole modern thing. I want this. If you're okay with me being here for a brief moment and not playing for the time being, like when they add modern mode into this, and like I've seen people actually make that make like where they bash a player for playing modern in Street Fighter 6. And let's not get it wrong, they have these type of mechanics in multiple different fighting games now, especially was it the new Fatal Fury City of the Wolves has a variation of it. Technically you had auto combos in many different games in the past, and actually one that was very heavy in the meta is Dragon Ball Fighters, where their auto combo is actually something that people use in the meta to this day to begin with. So I don't necessarily get where the complaint is about modern mode here in Street Fighter 6, because it's been around in fighting games for a little bit now, and maybe it's just an aspect of players that feel like they don't they want it to be one particular way and that's the only thing, or if they feel like, oh, I only lost because they were able to get that they were able to do this special by just hitting one button, especially if you have anti-airs, like a shuriken, Chun-Li's up kicks, Mai has a shuriken like move with the rising fire, but honestly, what I just the way I look at it whenever I see somebody playing modern mode, honestly, it becomes an aspect of me just changing my strategy of what I want to go ahead and do. Maybe I jump less. Maybe I test it out to see if they do that and do a jump in to go along with it. To me, it's just another tool in the game. And yeah, it does make particular supers and particular specials easier to do. They do have a downside to them if you do them that way to go along with it, which I think is a nice little balance in the game for modern mode, because I believe there's a 20% hit in terms of the damage output if you decide to use modern buttons like a special button or anything like that. So I think it's a nice little trade-off, and it's a nice little balance into that particular mode. And honestly, I'm gonna go out there. There are things in modern mode that I see that you don't normally see in classic mode or anything like that as well, and you get some really good players out of it. I just personally do feel that. But anytime I see somebody complaining about that, they're also the same people that complain about, well, they complain about hitboxes as well. I do personally play on an arcade stick. I've always played on an arcade stick. I am old school that way. It's just the way that I feel like fighting, how fighting games feel right to me. But the other tools out there with controllers, hitboxes, anything like that, they're all perfectly fine in there to go along with it. But I mean, it kind of is what it is. It's just, it changes the skill level, and it can be a bit elitist. Yes, it can be a bit elitist with some of that thought process. I don't think it's that case in every single instance, but it can be. But honestly, I'm not going to complain about modern mode. When I saw it in there, it's like, oh, cool. There's something out there for somebody else. And it just changes up my strategy of how do I get around it. And maybe that's what I personally like. I like that challenge. It's like, okay, this changes how I have to play against this particular player. And so I do kind of like that challenge as well. let's see here. Yeah, it's a really good tool. It's a it's a tool that they put into the game, and I think it's a really really good one. I mean, arcade sticks are a tool to use in the game. Controllers are a tool to use in the game. Um, like so, your different controllers, hitboxes again, are a tool to use in the game, and they open up different avenues. I've toyed around with a hitbox before. I'm not comfortable with playing it in like a actual match, but I am kind of toying around with it in beat 'em ups and everything. And honestly, hitboxes aren't all that bad either. They do open up a couple of different avenues for people to go ahead and go ahead and be able to maybe do a few other things and find other areas, like find other things in the game, other combo routes, something that maybe someone didn't think about when they were playing on an arcade stick or on a controller. But let's be real, the vast majority of the stuff that people could pull off on a hitbox, you could pull it off on a controller, you could pull it off on a hitbox. It's just, it might be a little bit more difficult to get to it. And I find that perfectly fine, because one of the things, if you're trying to get better and better and better at a game, you're going to be practicing and practicing and practicing it, so you'll be able to do what you want to do in a match. So that's how I personally feel about like the different tools and everything. So if you ever see, if you see me going up against a modern player, I'm not going to bash them for it. I'm just going to try to change up my strategy to get around what they're going to do. And we're going to have the match. And who ends out being the better player in that instance will end up winning. Just how I personally feel and how it ends out. Or I don't know if it's exactly how it's supposed to be or how it is, but it's how I feel. And hey, everybody's got an opinion for, well, basically everything. So you kind of got to go with it to a certain degree. I've never been a big fan of people who or quote unquote elitist to certain things, and I do feel like a lot of fighting game people in our area, in the area that I live, have kind of gotten themselves away from that, and to the point of, you know what, they're trying to make this game not just for the hardcore audience. They want to bring in other people. And here's the thing about that. People say it's like, oh, that's going to hurt the competition. Yet, who are the people on top right now? Pretty much the same people that were from 5, from 4 in the past. Like, and we see people moving up who are getting into Street Fighter 6 and everything like that, and they're moving themselves up as well. But, you know what? You can't say it's really hurting the competition, because, you know, those players who are really good, they're the ones on top. And it's not just some person who's like, I'm going to use modern mode and just mash something, who's on top. That's not happening. So, for me, again, it just means that the mode is there. It's a nice tool in the game to get more people into it. And what do I personally like? I like it when people play fighting games, and more people playing fighting games, the better, for every aspect of that. So that's basically my full thought process on it.